There we go. All right, it is 6:01. Good evening. I'd like to open the Crime Control and Prevention District public hearing and regular meeting for November 18th, 2024. And before we get started, I want to speak to why Roger, police chief, is not sitting up here as he was last week. A requirement of Local Government Code 363, which is the statute that gives Copper Canyon the right to have a CCPD, states that all members of the CCPD Board of Directors shall be residents of the political subdivision in which it was created, which is Copper Canyon. The police chief doesn't live in Copper Canyon. I was mistaken. So he cannot be a member of the board, although he has graciously offered to continue participating in these meetings, and we are grateful for that, Roger, so thank you. We are 2 members short. We have one more member, Sherry Gale, who the town council will discuss, consider, and take action appointing after this meeting tonight. So she will be involved in the next meeting and not this meeting. So we need 2 more members, and we're looking for those applications. All right, I'd like everybody to stand with me. Sorry about that. Face the flag and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honoring the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All right, so the first item on our agenda tonight is public input, where any citizen may speak during public input portion of the agenda for a period not to exceed 3 minutes on matters that are not the subject of the public hearing. Citizens or visitors who wish to speak about matters relating to the public hearing may do so at that time, and the board may take no formal action on items that aren't on the agenda. So I think we have one person who wishes to speak. Ted, go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Ted Stranzik, 1020 Northbury Trail Court. I just have a few comments and questions concerning the ongoing formation and operation of the CCPD. Proper compliance with Texas Law Title 11, Subtitle C, Chapter 363, Crime Control and Prevention District, in my opinion, is a legal and administrative nightmare. It is replete with highly structured, mandatory legal and administrative documentation and compliance requirements. It is akin to walking into a statutory minefield without adequate legal and administrative guidance. I encourage all CCPD board members to carefully read and discern the legal obligations, administrative goals, and objectives of Chapter 363. I would encourage greater involvement and oversight by our town legal team. They need to participate now when we are in the true formative stages of creating this most important district. Current priorities on creating a budget must be harmonized with the town master budget and the respective planning goals, objectives, and legal obligations embedded within 363. Given all the myriad of compliance requirements, I urge the board to keep it simple. Our goal is to implement crime prevention strategies that benefit our town first and foremost. This is not something that can occur overnight, and I want to thank the members of the board for all their efforts towards keeping Copper Canyon the safest community in North Texas. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ted.
I'm sorry?
Thank you for your comments, I said.
You're welcome.
Just so you know, Ted, this gentleman here is Stan Lowry. He is our counsel.
Welcome. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Does anyone else have input or want to speak on the public input portion? Okay. Closing the public input portion of the agenda. All right. Next is regular items. Item number 1 and 2 is considering approval of the September 23, 2024 CCPD meeting minutes.
Mr. Gibson, I apologize. I didn't understand the public hearing. I do need to speak at the public hearing.
Oh, okay. No problem. You're more than welcome to stay right where you're at if you'd like to, but let me move this.
I will.
Let me move this down.
One of the things I've wondered is whether we had a legitimate board. We're required to have 7 people appointed by the council who live in Copper Canyon. Last time at our meeting, we only had 4 people, so we weren't a legitimate board at that time. And at this meeting, we still do not have a legitimate board. So we shouldn't be discussing any of the crime prevention district things, much less the budget. We need a board, a full 7-member board, in order to have even a meeting. And we don't have that, and we didn't have that at the last time. So I would suggest that we do not approve the minutes that are listed here, and that we ask our town attorney to go and look at whether we are allowed to have a 1% sales tax, or are we still limited to a 0.25% sales tax? And that's extremely important, because we might have set aside money based on a 1% that the council did, but the council cannot change the state law. So maybe we need to take some of that money out that says it was raised by 1% and go back to the 0.5%, which is a legal limit. So I think tonight it would be best if we don't approve the minutes, because we're not a legitimate board. Dan, you're welcome. I love your comment.
I want to make sure I heard everything. So item number 1 is, are we a legitimate board with 4 members?
Yes.
And then 2 is
Sales tax.
the 1% sales tax. Is that exceed the limit identified in 321, the tax code? So Stan, if you wouldn't mind speaking on that. I know you're cold with no press.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the statute requires you to be a 7-member board, but obviously you could have people that are deceased, move away. You could lose membership on that board. So I believe as long as you have a majority of that 7-member board here, which you do, I think you can proceed on and conduct business. And to approve matters, you would need 3 out of the 4 votes of the people here, of the board members here. As far as the 1% authorization for your crime control and prevention district, the board member is correct that 363 limits you to something less than 1%, but 321-108 of the tax code allows you to allocate your full 2 cents that the state gives you, which gives you the authority to go up to 1%, which I believe the voters voted on in, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was 2020.
It was 2020.
So I believe that you are legitimate in that 1% based on the tax code allocation as opposed to the local government code allocation. And I believe you can proceed with 4 members being a majority of the required board to conduct business.
Thank you, Stan. So for the sake of being complete, that 1% was a Proposition A. It was voted on in 2020, and it was ordinance number 20-0 20-013. That ordinance both extended out the CCPD for 20 years, and it raised the tax to 1%.
Sheila, was that an ordinance or an election? Do you have to be an election?
It was an election. There's the vote count right there.
Okay, I thought that was a vote count back in 2015.
2015, that's this one. That's yours, where you formed the CCPD.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so is there any other public input? All right, we'll close the public input, and we'll move on to the first regular item, which is approval of the September 23 CCPD minutes. Now, this happens to be the CCPD board that was acting at the time, which was the town council, wherein they delayed or moved the fiscal year start date to February 1. So I was present at that meeting, and I would entertain a motion to approve regular item number 1, the minutes from September 23rd.
I make a motion to approve minutes, item number 1.
Thank you, Director Andrews. Thank you for that. Do I hear a second for that? Stan and Troy, I might be the only one who can second that because I was there.
I think anyone can second it.
Including me? Okay, I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstained because I wasn't present.
Got it. All right, so 3, we have a majority. All right, next item is the approval of the November 4th CCPD minutes, which was the last time this board met. Is there a motion to approve regular item number 2, the minutes from November 4th?
Is this the board where we were not officially?
This was the last time we met, so it was official.
Oh, it was official?
Yes. Mhm. Do I hear a motion for that?
I make a motion.
Thank you. Director Andrews, thank you for that. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to,
Take a vote.
I'm sorry, a little new at this. Thank you all for your patience. We need to vote on this, so all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No,
No.
No.
You don't approve the minutes from November 4th?
No.
Okay, so 3 in favor? All right, public hearing. It is 6:15. And the Copper Canyon CCPD will conduct a public hearing to receive public comment on the proposed fiscal year 24-25 budget for the Copper Canyon CCPD. So this is a public hearing. If you would like to speak in favor or opposed to the budget, you may do so now. Anyone have any comments? All right, none. Public hearing is over. It is 6:16 and the public hearing is closed. Next item is number 4, which is discuss, consider, and take action regarding the CCPD fiscal year 24-25 proposed budget. So this is in your packets. This is a revised budget. It has changed, not materially, but it has changed since we last saw it. The difference is we split out a couple of the line items. Let's see if I got that.
Patrol rifles, uniform gear.
Exactly, yep. All right, there we go. All right, yes, we split out the uniforms gear into two different line items. Uniforms gear is one line item now, and patrol rifles is a second line item. And then we reworded a couple of the other line items. We changed office supplies to signage.
What?
To signage.
Times.
Yeah. And I spoke with the chief about that. That might be signage on the building. We may also choose to use those funds for signage for the trails. Because right now it doesn't say, at least we think it doesn't say, and all locations that it has to be a horse, no bikes allowed. Dollars have not changed.
I'm wondering if we shouldn't increase our legal budget.
Okay, what do you have in mind?
Well, I'd at least go to 4,000 or 5,000
Okay. Okay.
because you've got to be complying with the state law all along.
Of course we do. Yep. So this legal portion here, the legal portion of the law enforcement budget is larger than that. It is, let me look that up. Legal is $6,700. That's in the law enforcement budget. We're taking $2,000 specifically for the CCPD, but the larger budget line item is $6,700. Just give me a copy of this. Just want to take a look at that.
Yeah, thanks.
So I'm handing her a spreadsheet that correlates the law enforcement line items from the 24-25 fiscal year budget to the CCPD proposed budget. You can have that.
Stan, do you have any comment on that? I know it's hard to ask you since you're the beneficiary of that, but
I mean, I don't know what all we have as far as to look into. I think we worked through a few things tonight, perhaps. I'm a little remiss to ask you to increase my budget, particularly not knowing, but you probably will need more than $2,000 worth of legal fees focused on this entity, and it may get less in years to come as I get caught up to speed and you all get comfortable with any questions you may have. So it probably wouldn't be a bad idea if you increase it a little bit, but again, if it's all encompassed in that $6,700, I'll defer to you all's judgment.
Sorry about that. Troy, can we change the budget and still vote on it?
We can do an amendment. You mean to the CCPD budget?
Yes.
I think if you publicly amend it tonight with the recommendation with approval with the following changes,
Okay.
then you can move forward with it. And then if we got to amend the town budget, we can do a budget amendment. We do those twice a year, and then we can make those changes then.
Okay. I'm going to suggest we increase legal. To 5,000. That's adding $3,000 to it, and then taking $3,000 out of the operating cost, which would bring that down to $9,000. So I'm proposing that as an amendment to the proposed 24-25 budget for the CCPD. You see what I'm talking about?
So Dave, just to clarify, so the current CCPD proposed budget is $2,000. We're going to bump that up to $3,000.
No, we're going to bump it to 5. We're going to
Okay, we'll
add
go
3. And so we need to reduce something else by 3, consistent with the normal budget rules. So that means reducing operating cost from 12,000 to 9,000.
Are the,
Roger, do you have any concern with that? Okay.
are the items in here fixed? Because you took that out of the operating costs.
Yeah,
Do you know what is being lost out of the operating cost?
that's a good question. And there's a number of catch-all line items in the operating cost, which is the reason that I'm suggesting we take it out of that. Dale, can I borrow that document?
You can,
Yeah, that document right there. Yeah, I'll give it right back to you. So this is coming out of the operating cost that's under the PD vehicle equipment. And so there's a great number of line items under that. I don't know what all of those are.
is this the operating cost here that I'm seeing?
Yes, it is. Yeah, so I'm proposing to reduce that to 9, but that doesn't change the larger law enforcement budget.
The overall aggregate doesn't change.
Correct. Yeah, well, yes, the aggregate doesn't change.
The total.
Correct. It doesn't change, nor does their budget change. The law enforcement line item budgets change.
So initially it was allocated for the CCPD to have an operating cost of 12,000 and now it's going to be 9?
Correct. So the CCPD was going to cover 12,000 of the 13,525 in the PD vehicles.
I understand.
And I'm suggesting that we reallocate and move 5,000. So in a total of 5,000 into legal, which would then reduce the amount of the PD vehicle equipment that the CCPD is covering. Yeah. And so we're making this change, but as the year moves forward, maybe our legal bills don't reach that level. And if they don't, then we'll have those funds available to put back into the operating cost line item. Yes, sir. Sure. Go ahead.
When it comes to use of revenue, and what you're all doing is you're satisfying the budget requirements of the master budget for the town. But under section 154, there is a sales and revenue distribution formula based on ABCDE strategies.
Okay.
And are we in conflict with one of those strategies in the appropriations that you're doing now?
So the first sentence of 363154 is in a district created by the county. This district was not created by a county. This district was created by the town of Copper Canyon. So it could come from any number of political subdivisions. It just so happens that this comes from the city.
Stan,
So 154 doesn't apply.
It doesn't apply. No, 154 would apply. I'm not saying that the law is not valid. I'm just saying that it doesn't apply to us right now because this CCPD was created by the town, not the county. Am I reading that correctly?
That's correct.
Yeah.
it goes on after that county and it includes municipality.
Okay.
In subsection B? Is that what you're talking about?
Let me see, I've got it in here somewhere. Yeah, it gives the percentages for at least 3 of the categories that you have to do.
Yeah.
Subsection B indicates that in a district
So-
containing more than one municipality, how it shall be apportioned.
Yeah. So we have one municipality and the first 3 sentences, 1, 2, and 3, which are the percentage breakdowns, apply to districts created by a county.
Yes.
All right. Do I have a motion to
Subsection
approve?
D is
Do I have a motion to approve?
District containing only one municipality, the funds under
Let me wait until there.
subsection A3, but it's still under the overall heading of.
Yeah.
All right, so Board Member Andrews made a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
They've got these sections that have definite.
Dave,
What
quick
you do.
question. Is it approval with the condition that you were talking about changing the numbers?
Yes, it is. It's the amended budget. I should be clear about that. I would entertain a motion to approve item number 4, which is the proposed CCPD budget for fiscal year 24-25 as amended.
I'd like to look up this subsection E real quick before we,
Yeah, of course. It's right here if you'd like to see it.
and it's subsection E, and it refers to only for a purpose authorized by section 363-151. Are we in compliance with that?
We're talking about 363-154, and then what was the,
In, under 363-154, we're,
you said D?
subsection E is relevant. It says in a district created by a municipality, the board may spend the revenue derived from the sales and use tax distributed under section 321-108 tax code only for a purpose authorized by section 363-151. So I
Okay.
just wanted to spend a couple minutes.
Yeah, so those are all of the district responsibilities. So that's the list of the programs that we will, discuss and vote on which programs that we're going to incorporate into the CCPD. These are mostly community engagement programs. We will vote on those in the next section, but there's a laundry list of items here, all of which contribute to the reduction of crime, right? And so all of our line items are contributing to the reduction of crime.
Right, 363-154, use of revenue. And it lists not less than 49.75% of the revenue to finance programs under A, 363-209A. And not less than 24.87% of the revenue to finance, again, programs under 363-209B.
Yes.
Not less than 24.87% of the revenue to be distributed under subsection B or D. And these do apply to the municipality.
So those are, correct me if I'm wrong, they apply to a district created by a county.
Correct.
So that doesn't apply to us.
I must have misread it wrong. I like.
So
time
1, 2, and
to
3,
check that.
1, 2, and 3 are sub sentences to section A. So it's not applicable in this case because
Correct.
this CCPD was created by the town, by you, in fact. All right, so we have a motion to approve the budget. Do we have a second? Give us just a moment, please.
Would there be a way to get that section printed out, 363-151?
I've got it right here.
So I think what you explained earlier was that under 363-151, this laundry list of items that we can spend the funds for, that will come later, is how we divvy that out. It will be in compliance with this.
Correct.
Okay, but that's at a later meeting.
Yeah, so we're gonna, and that's our next item for discussion is when that meeting is going to be.
It's at the very next meeting.
It will be, which is gonna be in February.
And so the funds that we are approving here will be used for these.
To the extent that funds are required for the programs that we approve. So Mayor Sue, or former Mayor Sue, proposed 2 programs, and you commented and added some interesting points to one of them. One suggestion was that the whoever is on duty, the police will drive every street in Copper Canyon. And in the event that they meet someone, they see someone, they're going to get out of the car and introduce themselves and say hi. And the idea there is to add familiarity, which so I've looked at several other CCPDs, and the town of Corpus Christi and the town of Fort Worth have both had very successful CCPDs, and in fact, some of the ways that they quantify how they've reduced crime, I think, are good models for us to follow. Now, we don't have that scale. We don't have the resources to do that, nor do we have the crime that those towns have, right? But they have good programs, and all of the programs are focused on creating a relationship between officers and residents. All of the programs contribute to that purpose, and so I think those are the kinds of programs that we should adopt. Those don't necessarily have a specific cost associated with them. But to the extent that they do, they'll be covered by the first line item in the CCPD fund allocation, which is the staff or contract officer pay, which is the largest of our line items. So those are choices that the legislature lays out for us. Most of those don't apply in this case, right? I don't think we need a mobile crime lab. I think that would be cool, but I don't think we need one. And I think it would probably exceed our budget. But there are some ideas in there that I think are relevant, and those are the things that we will discuss in our next meeting. And subsequent meetings, frankly.
If it limited us to only those items, that these funds would be limited to only those items.
Correct. We couldn't find some other bucket of funds. You're correct. Make sure I understand what you're asking. What you're saying is, if we decide to do something else, can we allocate funds to that program? Yes, but it would need to come out of one of these line items. And the top line item, the $33,359, is the catch-all for those programs. Roger, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me be sure I understand something. Our budget here, if it's, for instance, IT communication services is equal to the council's budget, do we transfer that amount or portions of the amount into the regular city budget, the town's budget?
I don't think we transfer. This is money of a different color. So I don't think we transfer it out of it. We pay it out of that fund. Is that correct, Sheila?
Right, so the CCPD funding is in its own bucket, so to speak. So as we start incurring invoices and services and paying officers and that type of thing, that money will eventually get transferred into the general fund as it was scheduled to be used.
So to answer your question, yes.
So yes, the CCPD proposed budget can be transferred into the town budget.
Yes.
Insofar as
For the particular
we're
uses.
covering the line items as approved by the budget.
Correct.
Yeah.
Designated.
That is
Yeah,
correct.
thank you.
And where would our accountability of where that money would be?
Auditor. We have MWH, who is serving as the treasurer of the CCPD board. The auditor does an annual review of how the funds are spent. All funds are spent,
Sure.
including CCPD funds. Now, historically, it hasn't because CCPD funds went to the county previously because we didn't have a police department here, right? So this year we will. So the auditor will include all of these line items, and that movement of funds out of the CCPD fund into the general fund to pay the invoices, that will be audited.
And that's something any citizen could see where money
Absolutely.
went.
Yeah. In fact, the audit itself is public. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Troy, can I second?
I believe so, yes.
Who made the motion?
Jim.
Yes, you.
Okay. I second the motion for item number 4, which is to take action regarding approval of the Copper Canyon Crime Control and Prevention District fiscal year 24-25 proposed budget as amended verbally. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain. No. No.
Abstain?
I'm going to abstain too.
Abstain. It does not pass. So we will need to then meet in our fallback meeting date, which is December 2nd. Sheila, can you confirm that's correct? September 2nd or December 2nd? Okay, great. So we will meet again on December 2nd at 6 o'clock. And we will move line item number 4 to that meeting. And we will have the amended budget as part of that agenda package. Yeah, here it is, December 2nd. All right, great. Next item is.
One comment, please.
Yeah,
In the state law, there's a detailed way of doing the budget with the town council. And if anything is changed in our budget, then you meet with the council and you work it out with the council before anything.
okay.
So might look at that. It's very detailed.
Yep, I'm familiar with it, and we will do that with the town council. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Dave, did you want to talk about item number 5 as it relates to future meeting schedules?
I just did, December 2nd.
December 2nd, okay.
Yep. Motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion, and this closes the CC. Oh, we need to vote on that. All in favor?
I'm sorry.
Adjourn.
Adjourning?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor? All right, unanimous. That was unanimous. All right.
He's the one who's here. He wants to officially